All right, everyone get ready because today we are going deep into the world of gastrointestinal health.
Oh, this is exciting.
It is. You know, our listeners have sent in some super interesting excerpts from a book on geriatric nutrition.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, chapter 3 specifically, and I'm really excited to dig in and like really learn a lot today.
Yeah, I think this is something that people don't talk about enough.
You're so right.
But, as we age, it's just so crucial for overall health.
Absolutely. And this deep dive is all about, how those systems change as we age,
Right.
what might happen, what conditions come up, and like most importantly, how do we keep things running smoothly?
Exactly. And you know what's so fascinating about all this is the gut's connection to the brain.
Oh, tell me more.
This gut-brain axis.
Yeah.
Which basically means what's happening in our gut can affect our mood,
Wait, really?
our cognition, and even our immune system.
The gut can influence our mood?
Isn't that wild?
That's crazy.
Yeah, so we have this vast network of nerves that connect the gut and the brain,
Uh-huh.
and all those trillions of bacteria living in our gut.
Right.
They actually communicate with our brain
Wow.
through this network.
It's like our gut has its own brain.
It really is.
That's communicating with our brain.
Exactly.
That's so wild.
And get this, the communication goes both ways.
What?
I know.
No way.
So stress, anxiety, even like positive emotions
Wow.
can impact our gut bacteria.
Seriously.
Yeah, and then those bacteria produce substances that influence brain chemistry.
So it's not just what we eat, but how we feel,
You got it.
how we manage stress, all of that affects our gut.
Exactly.
That's so interesting. Wow.
Right. So let's look at the age-related changes now.
Okay.
So one of the first things that happens is a decrease in saliva production.
Oh, okay. So that's why my grandma always has like water nearby.
It could be
Yeah,
because decreased saliva can lead to dry mouth, make swallowing difficult.
that makes sense.
And then further down the digestive tract, that esophageal sphincter,
Okay.
that little valve between the esophagus and the stomach, can weaken.
Is that where the heartburn comes in?
Yes,
Because I've heard that's more common as we age.
absolutely. So that weakened sphincter lets stomach acid back up into the esophagus.
Oh, no.
And that's what we call GERD, or gastro-esophageal reflux disease.
GERD. Okay, I'm writing that down. So less saliva, weaker sphincter.
Yeah.
What other changes are we looking at here?
Well, the stomach starts to empty more slowly.
Okay.
So that leads to reduced appetite and that feeling of being fuller
Yeah.
quicker.
Huh. Okay.
And then in the small intestine, enzyme production decreases.
And enzymes are important for breaking down food.
Very important.
Right.
So with fewer enzymes, our bodies might struggle to absorb nutrients properly,
And that can lead to...
which can contribute to deficiencies.
Oh, wow. So it's like this domino effect.
Okay.
One thing leads to another.
Right.
And it just impacts our health all over.
Exactly. And it doesn't stop there.
Oh,
There are also shifts in the gut microbiome. That's all the bacteria that live in our intestines, as well as something called increased intestinal permeability,
increased intestinal permeability.
which you might know as leaky gut.
Leaky gut. Okay, that sounds kind of alarming. What is that?
Basically, it means the lining of the gut becomes more permeable, allowing things that should stay inside to leak out into the bloodstream.
Oh,
Yeah,
and I'm guessing that can cause some problems.
it can. So those substances can trigger inflammation, immune responses, and can lead to a bunch of issues.
Wow. So we have all these age-related changes.
We do.
It's no wonder so many people have problems with their digestion as they get older.
You're right. And the source material here highlights 3 conditions in particular.
Okay.
First up, irritable bowel syndrome,
IBS.
or IBS exactly.
Yeah.
And it's a diagnosis of exclusion.
What does that mean?
So doctors rule out other conditions before they land on IBS as a diagnosis.
So it's a process.
It is. Involves tests and exams to rule out things like celiac disease, inflammatory bowel disease, and other conditions that might be causing those similar symptoms.
Gotcha.
But the hallmark symptoms of IBS itself
Yeah.
are gas, pain, bloating, and changes in bowel habits, like constipation or diarrhea, or sometimes both.
IBS is so common. I feel like everyone I know has it.
It really is, and what's so interesting is that a lot of people who have IBS actually have a case of what's called SIBO,
SIBO.
small intestinal bacterial overgrowth,
Okay.
which is an overgrowth of bacteria in the small intestine.
Interesting.
And treating that SIBO can often help alleviate the IBS symptoms.
So there could be a deeper root cause
There could be.
behind it. That's fascinating.
It is. What about the other conditions that the book mentions?
Yeah, what else is there?
Well, another one is inflammatory bowel disease, or IBD.
IBD.
Exactly. And this is different from IBS because it's an autoimmune disease.
Ah.
So it's not just bacteria. It's the immune system actually attacking the body's own tissues in the digestive tract.
So a completely different mechanism.
Completely different. And food sensitivities often play a role here.
Okay.
So identifying and managing those is really crucial.
I've heard of the autoimmune protocol diet, the AIP diet.
Yeah.
Is that something that...
That can be really helpful. It's an elimination diet where you remove inflammatory foods for a certain amount of time and then slowly reintroduce them to see which ones cause a reaction.
So you can pinpoint what's causing it?
Exactly. So that would be things like gluten, dairy, maybe certain nuts and seeds.
Right, right.
But remember, it's personalized. It's not one size fits all.
That makes sense. Okay, what about the third one in the book?
Right. Well, the third condition is that gastro-esophageal reflux disease, or GERD, which we talked about a little earlier.
Right.
And so as we age, that weakened esophageal sphincter, it lets stomach acid splash back up and causes that burning sensation.
Right.
But older adults might not always feel that classic heartburn symptom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because their esophageal sensitivity actually decreases with age.
So they could have it and not even know.
They could.
That seems tricky to diagnose then.
It can be. And even when it is diagnosed, the conventional treatment with PPIs, those medications that reduce stomach acid production can have limitations.
Okay, so this is where it gets interesting.
It does.
Tell me more.
So PPIs can effectively mask the symptoms of GERD.
Yeah.
But they don't actually address the root cause of the problem.
Totally.
Which often lies in lifestyle factors like diet, stress, and even certain medications.
So it's kind of like putting a Band-Aid on a bigger issue.
It is. And long-term use of PPIs can have unintended consequences like interfering with nutrient absorption.
Right.
Which can lead to other health issues down the road.
It's scary to think that something that's meant to help us can also cause problems.
Right. And so that's why it's so important to look at that holistic approach.
Yeah.
We need to look beyond just suppressing symptoms.
Absolutely.
And think about those underlying causes.
I like that. Okay, so that brings us to something mentioned in the book called the 5 R's of gut repair.
Yes, the 5 R's. Love it.
What is that all about? I'm intrigued.
So the 5 R's is a systematic approach to addressing gut health. It was developed by the Institute for Functional Medicine. And it's a way of thinking about how to repair and restore the gut to optimal function.
I like it. Okay, break it down for me.
Okay, so the first R is remove.
Remove.
And this is all about eliminating sources of inflammation in the gut.
Okay.
That could be pathogens like harmful bacteria or parasites.
Gotcha.
Inflammatory foods, food allergies or sensitivities, or even certain medications.
So step 1 is like detox the gut.
Exactly.
Get rid of the bad stuff.
Exactly. And then we move on to replace.
Okay.
Which is all about supporting insufficient digestive capacity.
Okay.
So as we age, our bodies might not produce enough hydrochloric acid, digestive enzymes, or bile acids.
Right.
So supplementing can help improve digestion if you're deficient.
So we're giving our body a little extra help to break down food.
Precisely. Then next up is reinoculate. Which is about restoring a healthy microbiome by introducing beneficial bacteria.
Oh, so this is where probiotics come in.
Yes, probiotics are a key part.
Okay.
But it's important to remember that not all probiotics are created equal.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, for example, lactobacillus and bifidobacterium are 2 common genera of probiotics, but within each genus.
Right.
There are so many different species and strains.
Oh, wow.
Each with their own unique properties and benefits.
So how do we know which ones to take?
It's best to work with a healthcare professional.
That makes sense.
They can assess your needs and recommend specific probiotic strains based on your concerns.
Okay, good advice.
Yeah, and they could also guide you on dosage and how long to take them.
Awesome. So we've removed the bad stuff, replaced what's missing, and reinoculated with the good.
Yes.
What's the 4th R?
So the 4th R is repair.
Repair.
It's all about healing the gut lining, which can be damaged by inflammation.
Okay.
Specific nutrients can help here, like L-glutamine, aloe vera, and prebiotic fibers.
Prebiotics, now those are different from probiotics, right?
They are. Think of it this way.
Right.
Probiotics are the live, beneficial bacteria.
Okay.
Prebiotics are the food that nourishes those bacteria.
Gotcha.
It helps them flourish.
So we're adding the good bacteria and then feeding them so they can grow.
Exactly. Good sources of prebiotics are foods like onions, garlic, leeks, asparagus, bananas, and oats.
Okay, I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, on to the final R.
All right, so the 5th and final R is rebalance.
Rebalance, okay.
And this is where we address lifestyle factors that can impact gut health.
Such as?
So that would be diet, exercise, sleep, stress management, and even social connections.
Wait, social connections affect our gut health?
They do.
That's wild.
Remember the gut-brain axis?
Yeah.
Well, our social interactions and the emotions they evoke
Right.
can influence gut bacteria.
Wow.
So like feelings of loneliness or isolation can actually disrupt the balance of our gut microbiome.
So having good relationships, managing stress, that's not just good for our mental health, but our gut health too.
Exactly. It's all about creating a harmonious balance within ourselves and with the world around us.
I love that. So the 5Rs are such a comprehensive approach to gut health.
They are.
And it's clear that what we eat and how we live has a huge impact on our gut and our well-being in general.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So speaking of what we eat, let's talk about some healing foods.
Yes.
Because I love the idea of food as medicine.
Me too. So functional foods are a great place to start.
Functional foods, what are those?
These are foods that offer benefits beyond basic nutrition.
Oh.
They provide additional support for gut health.
So like they have superpowers for our gut.
Exactly. So let's start with high fiber foods. These are essential for feeding the beneficial bacteria in our gut.
Okay.
So think raspberries, pears, beans, lentils, those kinds of things. They promote a healthy microbiome and keep things moving, if you know what I mean.
Yep. I got you. Those are delicious and easy to add to a meal. What else?
Well, fermented foods are another powerhouse for gut health.
Yeah.
They're like little probiotic factories,
Right.
introducing beneficial bacteria into our gut.
Yogurt, kimchi, sauerkraut.
Exactly.
All those tangy, delicious things.
Yes. And then we have cruciferous vegetables
Okay.
like broccoli, cabbage, and cauliflower.
I love broccoli.
They contain compounds that support detoxification and help to balance the microbiome.
I had no idea. It was so good for my gut.
Oh, yeah.
All right. What other healing foods should we be loading up on?
Let's not forget about demulcent foods.
Demulcent foods.
Yeah, so these have a soothing effect on the gut lining.
Okay.
They help to calm inflammation and promote healing.
That's interesting.
It's like aloe vera juice,
Okay.
almonds, chia seeds, flaxseed. They have sort of a mucilaginous texture that coats and protects the gut.
So they create a protective layer.
They do.
That's interesting. Okay. Anything else for our gut healing menu?
Don't underestimate the power of spices.
Ooh, spices. I love spices.
Turmeric,
Yes.
ginger,
Love it.
and black pepper are fantastic additions.
I use those all the time.
They add flavor and they have anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties.
That's awesome. So they taste good and they're good for us.
Exactly.
I love that. Okay, so these are just a few examples
Just a few.
of a whole world of functional foods out there.
Exactly.
It's not just what we add to our diet,
Right.
but also what we might want to limit,
Right.
especially as we get older.
Exactly.
Are there any foods that can be particularly troublesome for the gut?
One category to be aware of, especially for those with IBS or SIBO, is FODMAPs.
Fovinamat Now, what are those?
So OCODMAPs stands for fermentable oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides, and polyols.
Okay, got it.
So basically, they're types of carbohydrates that are poorly absorbed in the small intestine
Okay.
and can lead to gas, bloating, pain, and changes in bowel habits.
It sounds like they feed the bad bacteria in the small intestine and worsen those IBS symptoms?
Absolutely. And as we get older and our digestive systems naturally slow down, we might become even more sensitive to FODMEs.
So what's the solution? Do we just avoid all FODMEs?
Not necessarily. So the low FODMate diet is an elimination diet.
Oh, okay.
It's designed to help identify which FODMBs are triggering your symptoms.
Gotcha.
It's not meant to be a long-term solution
Okay.
because many high FODMate foods are actually quite healthy
Right.
and beneficial for the gut when tolerated.
Okay, that makes sense.
So some examples would be wheat,
Okay.
dairy, certain fruits like apples,
Okay.
pears,
Uh-huh.
legumes, and some sweeteners.
Okay, so it's more like a temporary thing to figure out what your triggers are.
Exactly.
I like that, we've talked about how age affects digestion, common conditions, the 5Rs, healing foods.
We have.
But what about medications?
Oh, yeah.
I know we touched on this a little bit,
We did?
but I'm curious to know more about how medications can impact gut health.
Yeah, it's a crucial aspect of gut health that we often overlook because many commonly prescribed medications can have significant effects on the gut.
Okay, so what are some medications that older adults should be particularly aware of?
So antacids and PPIs,
Okay.
which are often used for heartburn and GRD,
Yeah.
they can interfere with the absorption of nutrients like vitamin B12 calcium and magnesium.
So even though they provide relief,
Right.
they could be creating other problems
Exactly.
down the line.
Exactly. Another one to watch out for is NSAIDs, or non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs.
NSAIDs.
Yeah, these are common pain relievers.
Okay.
But they can damage the stomach lining and increase the risk of ulcers.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then another big one is antibiotics.
Yeah, antibiotics.
While they're necessary to fight infections,
Right.
they can disrupt the gut microbiome, leading to dysbiosis.
Right, that imbalance.
That imbalance, exactly.
That we talked about earlier.
That's a double-edged sword.
It is.
You're fighting one problem, but potentially creating another. So that's why it's important for thoughtful prescribing and open communication between patients and healthcare providers.
I love that.
Yeah, it's about weighing the risks and benefits and considering the impact on gut health.
Absolutely. This has been so eye-opening.
Great.
I'm starting to see just how complex gut health is and how many factors are at play.
It really is a fascinating and intricate system, and we're learning more about it all the time.
Well, I feel like I've learned a ton today.
Me too.
We've covered so much.
So what?
The aging gut,
Yeah,
common conditions,
Yeah.
the 5 R's of gut repair,
we did.
healing foods, and even medications to be mindful of.
Exactly. It's been a really comprehensive deep dive into the world of gut health.
It has, but before we wrap up, I have one more question.
Okay.
You mentioned something called an elemental diet.
Oh, yeah.
What is that and when might it be used?
So the elemental diet
Yeah.
is a really fascinating approach to gut healing
Okay.
that provides complete gut rest.
Interesting.
It's a liquid diet
Oh, wow.
composed of macronutrients, so protein, carbohydrates, and fats in their simplest pre-digested forms.
So the body doesn't have to work as hard to break it down.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So it's often used for complex gut issues like severe SIBO,
Okay.
Crohn's disease, or ulcerative colitis,
Uh-huh.
or for individuals who are just hypersensitive to a lot of different foods.
That makes sense.
So it reduces inflammation and allows the gut to heal.
It sounds intense, so it's like hitting the reset button
You should consider that.
on the gut.
Yeah.
Now, is that something that people would do on their own?
It's definitely something that should be done under the guidance of a healthcare professional. They can help determine if it's appropriate and monitor your progress.
Gotcha.
And typically it's done for a few weeks, followed by a slow and careful reintroduction of solid foods,
Okay.
starting with those low FODMPs options.
So it's not a long-term solution,
Not really.
but more of a strategic tool if
Exactly.
necessary.
Precisely. And it just speaks to the power of food and how manipulating what we eat can support healing.
Absolutely. This has been such an incredible deep dive.
It has.
I feel like we've just scratched the surface.
There's always more to learn.
There is, but I think we've provided some valuable insights
May have.
to digest, pun intended.
Force.
Okay, so for our listener who's been with us so patiently,
Yes.
taking all this in,
Uh-huh.
what's the one key message you want them to take away?
You have more control over your gut health than you think.
I love that.
By making conscious choices about what you eat, how you manage your stress, and how you care for your overall well-being, you can cultivate a thriving internal ecosystem that supports not just your digestion, but your overall health and vitality.
So well said and so true.
Right.
It's all connected.
It is.
Mind, body.
Gets.
Absolutely.
This has been an amazing deep dive. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise.
Always my pleasure.
And to our listener, thank you for joining us on this
Yeah.
journey of discovery.
Yes, thank you. We hope you learned some valuable insights that will help you cultivate a happy, healthy gut.
We do.
Remember, knowledge is power.
It is.
And now you have the tools to take charge of your gut health.
We do.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep that gut happy.
Keep it happy.
See you later.
Bye.
We talked about how the gut affects the brain,
Yes,
but it's a two-way street, right?
it is.
Our emotions and stress levels
Yeah.
can also impact our gut bacteria.
Absolutely. Remember that vagus nerve connection we talked about?
Yeah.
Of like a superhighway
Wow.
of communication between the brain and the gut?
Right.
And that chronic stress can actually send signals down that highway, disrupting the balance of our gut bacteria.
Oh, wow.
And that contributes to digestive issues.
So it's not just what we eat,
Right.
but how we live,
Exactly.
how we manage stress,
Yeah.
how we cultivate our well-being.
It's all connected.
It really is. The gut is like this incredible ecosystem,
Yeah.
constantly responding to everything around it.
Absolutely.
This has been such an amazing deep dive.
It has.
I feel like we've only scratched the surface.
There's always more to learn.
There is, but I think we've given everyone a good foundation.
I think so, too.
Some takeaways to use.
Absolutely.
So for our listener, what's one action step
Oh, that's a good question.
you would recommend they take?
I think just start by paying attention to your gut.
Okay,
Notice how different foods make you feel.
that makes sense.
Are there any patterns or triggers
Right.
that emerge?
Yeah.
And maybe start incorporating some of those healing foods we talked about, fermented foods, high fiber options.
Okay,
And don't forget about stress management.
that's so important.
It is. Find things that help you relax and unwind,
Yeah.
like yoga, meditation, spending time in nature, connecting with loved ones.
Those are great suggestions.
Yeah, small changes
Yeah.
can make a big difference.
Absolutely. So if our listener wants to dive deeper, are there any resources you recommend?
You know, there are so many great books and websites.
Right.
The Institute for Functional Medicine that we talked about earlier
Yeah.
has a ton of information on their website.
Awesome.
And of course, if you're dealing with specific gut issues,
Right.
it's always a good idea to consult with a healthcare professional.
Absolutely.
They can help you create a personalized plan
That's great.
to address your needs.
Awesome. So this has been an incredible deep dive into the world of gastrointestinal health.
It has.
Thank you so much for sharing your expertise.
It was my pleasure.
It's like we have this owner's manual now,
Right.
and we're finally figuring out how it works.
Exactly. And the more we understand,
Yeah,
the better choices we can make to support our gut health.
absolutely. You know, we've talked about how the gut can affect the brain,
Yeah,
but it's a two-way street.
it is.
Our emotions, stress levels,
Uh-huh.
they can impact our gut bacteria too.
For sure. Remember the vagus nerve connection?
Oh, yeah.
Like a super highway of communication
right.
between the brain and gut.
And that chronic stress can send signals down that highway,
It can, disrupting everything.
disrupting the balance, exactly,
Mm.
and contributing to digestive issues.
So it's not just about what we eat.
Nope.
It's how we live, how we manage stress,
It's everything.
how we cultivate a sense of well-being.
It's all connected.
It really is. The gut is like this incredible ecosystem
It is.
that's constantly responding and changing.
to everything.
This has been such an amazing deep dive.
It
I
has.
feel like we've only just scratched the surface.
There's always more.
There is.
But I hope this has given everyone a good foundation.
I think so. Some practical takeaways.
Yeah, definitely.
So for our listener who's been with us today,
Uh-huh.
what's one key action step you'd recommend?
Just pay attention to your gut.
Okay.
Notice how different foods make you feel. See if there are any patterns, any triggers that emerge.
That's good advice. Start incorporating some of those healing foods we talked about.
Yeah.
Like fermented foods.
Yeah.
High fiber options.
Right.
And don't forget stress management.
So important.
It is. Find activities that help you relax.
Yeah.
Whether it's yoga, meditation, spending time in nature, or connecting with loved ones.
Love it. Small changes
Right.
can make a big difference.
Exactly.
Now, if our listener wants to dive deeper,
Mhm.
any resources you recommend?
There are some fantastic books and websites.
Yeah.
The Institute for Functional Medicine we talked about
Yeah. Great resource.
has a ton of information on their website.
Awesome.
And if you're dealing with specific issues,
Right.
consulting with a healthcare professional is always a good idea.
Absolutely.
They can help you create a personalized plan
I love that.
to address your needs.
Okay, this has been an incredible deep dive into the world of gastrointestinal health.
It really has.
Thank you so much for sharing your expertise.
My pleasure.
And to our listener, thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
On this journey of discovery, we hope you learned some valuable insights
We do.
to help you cultivate a happy and healthy gut.
Absolutely.
Remember, knowledge is power.
It is.
And now you have the tools to take charge of your gut health.
You do.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep that gut happy.
Keep it happy.
See you later.
Bye.